Hi, I'm Sophie, and I haven't seen a lot of films.
Hi, I'm Paul, and I'm here to help with that. And we are
SP Film Viewers.
Up, up and away, web.
This is like an inner child thing for Paul, isn't it, this movie that we're going to be watching?
Yeah, so this week we're going to be discussing the original Spider-Man Trilogy. And to keep people in the loop of things, I got the 4K set of Christmas.
I bought you it.
Yeah.
Well, Santa bought you it.
And we kind of watched the first two over the Christmas period.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't entirely sure, whether this, should we do a episode based around this? And then the third one got left to the wayside a little bit. But I thought, I asked you, didn't I, about how much did you retain of information from what was going on? Because, the superhero films, and we kind of...
They all merge sometimes. I shouldn't say that. But
yeah, they're easy watch, but never too oh, that's so deep and meaningful type of thing, is it?
Oh, no, really? It's predictable. Yeah. You know what's going to happen. I kind of already know what's going to happen in the third, I think.
Okay. So this third one is, as trilogies normally go, is normally the worst one. You kind of stop at the two, and that's it. So this one is...
Oh, is it bad?
Yeah, so it'd be kind of interesting to see if you... And I haven't seen the third one in a good while, but I've still got some scars from some of the...
Really?
So
why did you make me buy you it if the third one's crap?
Because, you're getting it for the first two primarily, and you just go that one kind of thing. So there's no...
Like Jurassic Park.
Yeah, exactly. But they've done multiple. And it'll be actually interesting as well from an overall perspective of, in terms of what you think of Tobey Maguire as the Spider-Man and these ones compared to Andrew Garfield, which you've seen in the Amazing Spider-Man. That's the one with Emma Stone in those two.
Okay, yeah, and the new Spider-Man.
Tom Holland, yeah. So
I feel like I know Tom more than I do the others, really. I feel like Tom kind of was when I was just getting into Marvel
films, yeah, I understand that, yeah.
So for me, I know it sounds really strange, he's probably my Spider-Man in my head.
Probably a lot of people's, really, yeah. So Tobey Maguire was always really my Spider-Man. It's like seeing the films from way back when in the early 2000s, it's like, oh, this is pretty amazing. Because I'm a big Spider-Man fanboy, despite not seeing the new one.
No, we haven't seen the new one yet, have we?
No.
Yeah. I didn't even know it was out until you mentioned it and then did a sad crying face.
I don't know how you couldn't have known, really, with all the marketing that they do for it.
Well, they're dating now, aren't they?
Tom Holland and Zendaya, yeah.
Did what, Emma Stone and that other Spider-Man?
Yeah,
I don't know why they keep making Spider-Man after Spider-Man, though, to be fair. It's
property of it. They've got to keep it churned out or they lose the rights or something. It's
ridiculous.
One of those kind of silly marketing things. Because
they're all the same, pretty much. It's the same principle. Boy meets girl, has to save girl.
With the Batman stuff. Yeah.
And I'm not really a big Batman fan.
Really?
I'm not. I haven't seen hardly any Batman films.
You've seen some of Dark Knight, though, haven't you?
Yeah, and then I walked out of the cinema.
Ledger. Not because it was bad, right?
Well, the scenario was my sister was on a blind date, so we went in
okay.
to watch it, and I didn't really like the film, and I wasn't really into that kind of film at that point. I was about 13.
Yeah, your opinions may have changed since then.
So we walked out of it, and we're like, oh, it looks like it's okay. He's not going to kill her. Well, we should be okay to leave her now.
Okay.
Well, wasting money on a ticket, eh?
I know. Shame, it's a really good film. Maybe it's something we look at in the future, maybe.
I like Heath Ledger, so...
Yeah. Anyway, I'll read you the blurb of this one. I know we're not going to read the blurb of all the other ones because we've already seen them and stuff. But everyone knows those pretty well. And
Can I go in beforehand just so that I can...
Yeah.
Obviously, Mary J. or Mary Jane or whatever. Mary Jane. She's now knows
MJ,
Spider-Man's Spider-Man and is...
Spoilers, yeah.
Yeah, so she knows that. And they're like, we're on and off on the other one, weren't they? So I feel like they've got like this full-blown relationship that's going to happen now. And every 2 minutes she's going to get caught in the limelight of somebody trying to steal her. And Spider-Man's just basically chasing after her the entire thing. That's what I'm assuming it is in a nutshell.
Right, okay.
Am I wrong?
We have to watch the film to find out. So, the box synopsis says, New York City is in the throes of Spider-Mania, and Peter Parker finally has the girl of his dreams. But just when it seems like that things can't get any better, Spider-Man must fight the most terrifying trio of villains he's ever encountered.
Also 3 goblins.
The Deadly Sandman, the New Goblin, and Venom, plus the enemy he discovers within himself.
The spider.
Well, the spider comes back.
Yeah.
It's like, hello, remember me? I gave you the powers.
Likes killing people now.
What, Spider-Man?
Yeah.
What makes you say that?
Because he's going to have to defeat these ones.
Alright, so he gets the thirst for blood,
yeah.
You mean?
Or it's the fact that he always pushes people away.
Yeah, it's kind of a bit of that, I'd say. But yeah, I'm more interested in your thoughts on the villains and how that kind of plays out, really.
I think I've seen Venom, I've not seen the film, but I think I know
of Venom. Yeah.
Goblin, obviously, because he was in it anyway, so I kind of know what that's going to look like. Sandman, don't have a clue.
Clue in the name, somewhat.
Well, yeah, but is he going to be, like, really, like, animated, but, like, in a crap way and how does he form, and does he, like, sand dust drop everywhere? Because that would be, like, your nightmare.
Yeah, it would, yeah. I feel like that would be my worst thing to be turned into. Like, no! God damn it.
Just on the last note before we kind of tie it up.
Yeah.
If you could be a superhero, but also have a superpower.
I would have the ability to transform into whatever.
Wow, you thought about this, hadn't you?
Yeah.
So you could be whatever you wanted.
Yeah. So, for example, if like, I want to fly somewhere, I think I could just be like a bird or something.
Okay.
And just be like that, and then that's
Could you be invisible as well?
If it's a chameleon, I suppose. Yeah. I don't mean like the power of invisibility, because... Yeah.
I'd quite like to be invisible.
Right. What would you do with that power? Mine's just more... I'm just thinking more of an everyday, day-to-day thing. Like, I could just be like, oh, I want to get past these people. I'll just transform into something that's inconspicuous, or... I don't know.
If I was invisible, I could just go into Asda and just do my shopping. And I could this trolley could just walk out, couldn't it? Or I could not be nobody could be getting in my way because I'm invisible.
Yeah, but then they think there's nothing there. And then they would walk into you and be like, oh, what's that?
No, because I would know. So it's like I'd bump into it and freak people out. And if somebody were wanting to bitch about you and you're in the room and they don't know. Yeah, and then they don't know you're there.
I suppose.
You know what people really think of you.
Then what they would do for you. Ego, it's like having to be able to read minds. I wouldn't want that, because that's...
I feel like I already do that anyways, most of the time. I reinterpret what I think people think.
You can't read mine, can you?
No.
I mean,
that's why I'm marrying you, because it's going to take me that long for the cord for me to get in.
Yeah.
Or I'd be able to fly.
But as a person?
No, I'd like transform into like a hawk.
You can only have one power. So you can't have...
I'm weighing up which one I prefer.
That's my idea.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm saying I just want to be invisible and fly.
You want everything, don't you?
No, you do.
You want to shoot lasers at my eyes.
No, you do. Transform is very vague, isn't it?
Yeah, but I have to have the idea in my mind to what I want to transform.
You want everything.
I can't just be like, oh, I think I want to be...
Oh, I want to be a lion today.
Or the ability to teleport. You know, like, just think, right, again, using your mind to...
And you think I'm greedy?
Like, oh, I could just...
Can't be asked driving.
Yeah.
Bing, I'm there.
Yeah.
That just sounds good.
Go to town.
Wouldn't it be nice if you could just be like, I want to go to Japan?
Yeah, exactly.
Boom.
We know you, but you have to know, or have like a picture to know that you've been there, or know where you're going to.
I was going to say, because like, what if you want to go somewhere you've never been before?
Yeah, exactly. You have to do the trip first, and then you're thinking, I don't want to do the trip again.
You just have to know where it is, I think. Yeah. Anyway,
yeah. So that's enough waffling, and we'll get on to concluding the trilogy and see what you think of the whole experience.
Well, you've already made me come in a bit hesitant because I was looking forward to it, thinking it was going to be like the other two. So I'm a bit like, oh.
I'll see you in a bit.
Remember, with great power comes great responsibility.
I believe there's a hero in all of us that keeps us honest, gives us strength, makes us noble.
I don't understand. Spider-Man doesn't kill people.
And we're back. So what we'll do is kind of briefly touch upon the first and second films. What I guess what you can sort of remember from watching them kind of like passively over the festive period. And then kind of the meat of the episode will really be on the third film and what you thought overall of the franchise of this Sam Raimi trilogy.
When you say that, is that the director?
That's the director.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
I'm thinking,
the
pretty
films.
sure that's not what the actor's called.
No, that's Tobey Maguire. He's
Okay.
the actor.
You need to be more clear with that with me.
Yeah, I know. So what do we remember from the first one?
Feels like a quiz this does. Oh, Sophie, right. What do you remember? Let's tick it off.
Yeah.
Also,
Good.
festive period, Paul. I didn't know we were American saying festive. It's Christmas.
Doesn't really matter. I'm just not associating Spider-Man with Christmas is just what I mean. It's
No,
just kind of
it's
just
not.
over the time when in between Christmas and New Year. So
Yeah, when I got you.
Yeah. So the origin story of Peter Parker.
The first one.
Yes.
Okay. So what I remember is the traditional Spider-Man story of him becoming Spider-Man, basically.
Yeah.
You've got the lab where he's going. He's a little nerdy, kind of geeky guy. And he does pull that off better than any Spider-Man that I've seen. Like, even Tom Holland is not really that nerdy or geeky. He tries to be, but
he's quite young, though, isn't he, in comparison? But he's in, like, high school as
yeah.
opposed to, whereas Peter Parker's, like, in like,
college or uni?
College, yeah, uni, that kind of era, yeah.
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 Where I think he pulls it off. He's got the glasses. He just looks more like a nerdy kind of person in general.
Yeah.
I think. So that works quite well for him.
Mm-hmm.
He's quite also, you see this big difference in his like physique before he's Spider-Man.
Yes, yeah.
So he's quite thin. He looks nerdy and lanky.
Yeah. So you've got like the jocks, like Mary Jane's going out with Flash Thompson, who's like, well, yeah, he's
I don't even know why she's dating him. Really, he's an absolute arsewipe, and he's
Yeah.
just up himself, basically, isn't he?
Yeah.
To be frank.
Yeah.
But obviously, when you're young at that point, you just think, oh, he's so cool.
Mhm.
She doesn't really notice Peter at all. To be fair.
No, not really.
And obviously, he's absolutely besotted with her.
Yeah.
So he's got a really close friend, Harry, who's wealthy and rich and a bit better looking than Peter, I would say.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, go talk to her. He knows how much Peter really likes MJ. And he's like trying to say, well, go talk to her. And then he's like, oh, I'll show you how it's done. And
Almost,
then
yeah.
he's kind of falling, I think, a little bit for her at that stage as well. But doesn't want to upset his friend either.
Yeah, so it's at this science lab that obviously this is where this famous spider bite happens and now he becomes radioactive Spider-Man.
Like, wouldn't you think, like,
to
the
tell
way
somebody.
that it's going is, like, you can see it and it looks like it's, like, infected or something like that in his hand and it's moving across and it's like, well, wouldn't you say something? Or why would you just, like, go to bed and look pale? Goes home and Aunt May's like, are you okay? And he's like, yeah, I'm fine. Looking like a ghost and just lays in bed and lets it happen. Like, if that were me, I'd be like, oh my God, a spider's bit me.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
No one would hear the end of it and I'd have to go somewhere to get it checked out, probably.
That's not very good. Doesn't look good for the character if he was like pissing and whining about it.
But would you do that? What?
If it was a tiny bite, I'd be like, oh, okay, whatever. But
No. Not if the fact that there was a lump coming out of my hand.
being disconcerting, yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
So just thinking that's just like...
Just walk it off.
And then he wakes up the next day being pretty much like Spider-Man.
Yeah, spare vision, more.
He doesn't need his glasses,
Yeah,
does he?
It's a nice touch as well, actually. Yeah, to that, and obviously that makes him appear like obviously different in terms of like your appearance and
the fact that he's got muscles. So I'm wondering if he's like had to go on a little skinny diet beforehand and then buff out.
Yeah, probably will have done. Yeah, to that. I don't think that was all CGI the whole time. I don't think, but I mean, he's not shirtless most of the time. Anyway, it's kind of
maybe he's just
concealed.
padded.
Yeah, maybe. But
it does look better though. I'm not gonna lie. There is a complete difference in person, and obviously MJ even notices him a little bit more from that.
Yeah.
Also, what's strange is they live next door to one another. Like, how have they not become friends?
Well, I think from afar, like sort of said, but not like really close. But obviously, it's a lot easier now for them. She's kind of like a bit more. Who's this guy? Yeah, it's kind of like changes appearance. Probably just in passing, just like a neighbour, you just don't pay much attention to and stuff. But yeah.
Whereas he's like fixed on her, isn't he? Bless him. Yeah. He's, from the get-go, he knows she's the one, basically.
Yeah, that's right. And it's all kind of accumulated from this. He's got like, all right, I got the means to be somebody, really. So he's going to use his new found strength and everything.
This is so strange, this bit is. Like, he's wanting money, isn't he?
Yeah, to buy a car.
MJ's partner, like the jock, bought a car and she's like, oh, and he's like, okay, right. Really typical kind of naivety of him. Being quite young, thinking, oh, if I get a car, she'll be interested in me. And it's like, that's not how it works, sadly. And this bit, I was like, what? This is not like the Spider-Man I know. Going to like a
WWE type.
Like wrestling
cage
thing.
Match, yeah.
I was like, what the hell? Like, this just seems like a whole new different entity that I'd, not in my wildest dreams, would have put in Spider-Man.
I'm obviously, there's various situations in the comics, but I'm not entirely sure as to like how closely that follows in a term of a storyline for anything, but
I'm thinking, oh my god, he's definitely going to get flattened. But
it's believable in terms of, humble beginnings. He's got this little crappy little suit that he's put together.
Oh, we all come from somewhere, don't we?
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah,
it's for sure. You don't start being amazing at the very get-go.
And we've got this is where with great power comes great responsibility speech from Uncle Ben before his passing, sadly, with the criminal he lets go at this WWE place, whatever, because he didn't get the money from his. He
didn't get paid what he was worth, did he? Really?
So he's like, I'll just let this guy go, and like this vengeance and it's
karma kind of thing. But then karma bites Peter in the arse a lot quicker, sadly. And then that kind of puts that fury in him, doesn't it? Where he's like, right, okay, now I've got to avenge everybody that's out there.
Yeah. Obviously, you don't see the initial, like, well, how did he get from that crappy little jumper and trousers thing that he made to this full-fledged, detailed spider suit? But you see him doing scribbles and such like that kind of that was initially,
concept.
Yeah, so it's like he had the sketch, but it's like that's what he was wearing there wasn't exactly anything like what you think.
Looks like your onesie that you've got in the wardrobe.
Yeah. And so that doesn't bother me, the fact that it's like, right, okay, a quick turnaround, but it's kind of like, you're right, he's more focused on using his powers for good, essentially. And this is kind of like who is this Spider-Man?
Yeah, local hero Spider-Man, and it's kind of a little bit within this, like, Marmite. You either love him or hate him at this moment because you're thinking, why are you intervening? The police have got it sorted. Or it's good job Spider-Man's there because this person would have died.
Exactly. So what I find most interesting about him really is he's kind of relatable in the sense that he's kind of a young person, a young individual who's, anybody could really be Spider-Man.
Is Paul thinking, I could be Spider-Man? Is that what you're saying, darling?
When I was young, I think that was cool. But and it's interesting the fact that he's seen as good to most people, but obviously there are people who still not too impressed with him, particularly the cops. You kind of steal our job, but it's like, well, half the time Spider-Man is doing your job, so
kind of captures him up, doesn't he? And goes, "Oh, I've done the job for you. Here you go."
Yeah. That's the inklings of that in this first one, yeah. So the main villain in this is Harry's dad, who becomes the Green Goblin. What did you make of his character and his suit and everything overall?
I don't know what he was actually working on initially, but he was doing something.
It was like military grade weaponry type thing, this like hoverboard thing.
And somebody else was doing it and was near enough there with the project, and they had to start again.
Yeah.
And so
issues,
it kind of puts itself forward to being the
subject.
Yeah, to practice on. And I think this is where it kind of goes wrong. He's a bit of an arsewipe, but he really likes Peter. He's really interested in Peter and wants Peter on board because he's quite clever scientifically.
Yeah, it's like the son he never had type of thing.
Yeah. And Harry, he wants Harry to take... I think he loves Harry, but he wants to take Harry under his wing, but it's not kind of working the way he would want it because Harry just likes the finer life of what his dad's already given him.
Exactly.
He doesn't want to really work for it.
Yeah.
So he's obviously then becomes the Green Goblin in this by having to take on the hoverboard, and it goes awfully wrong, and that's how you normally get a villain, isn't it?
Yeah.
It looks a bit bizarre. It's not really what I thought Green Goblin would look like, but I didn't know he went on a hoverboard, really, like a little skateboard kind of thing. I don't know.
It's a hoverboard because that's hovering. As
Yeah.
opposed to skateboards have wheels.
I don't really know. I've never known what the Green Goblin was, so I can't really say.
Okay. Well, this is a pretty fairly believable in terms of the outfit because, like in the comics, he had like he's like green and like purple pants and so
he like literally like a goblin.
Yeah. Look more like goblin-like, but whereas this is just like a padded and metal suit, really.
Yeah.
It works. Yeah, it's believable. It's like a armor padding to be durable and everything. So I think it's pretty effective in terms of what it is.
It more just looks
medicine.
like a man in a suit, really, like
something like Power Rangers.
Yeah, it doesn't really look like I guess like equivalent of what Spider-Man is. It's but he's more kind of gone a bit crazy in his head, and why is he's got Avenging with Spider-Man? What's that about again? Oh, I've got it. It's come to me.
Yeah.
So basically, he gets kicked out of his company, doesn't he? His business, and that's the turning point of where Harry's dad kind of fully emerges into the Green Goblin.
Yeah.
Because he's like, again, something's gone wrong, and then it's like, this isn't fair. I've been done bad to. I'm gonna ruin this ceremony where.
Yeah, I think it's like the Macy's Day Parade type of thing going on. Yeah. And obviously Spider-Man thwarts him there, so it's like a bit of a problem.
Well, Mary Jane is falling off like the side of the building, and Harry's doing nothing about it, and he's meant to be.
He's got knocked out, didn't he? Yep.
No, but at one point he's just sat there like this, and she's like falling, and he's like not even moving to go get her, and it's what's that about? Like, if that were me, Paul, I expect you to make an effort at least. Even if you're falling off with me, then that's fine. At least you tried to get me.
Okay.
Not just sat there like, I'm not going to move. Like, well, if I was Mary Jane, then it'd be like, clearly you don't love me enough. Spider-Man rescued me. You don't even know me.
So it's the point when it's kind of falling for him anyway. So it's kind of just to be unexpected. I think just like on the fact of like, well, if he saves anybody who's like of the female persuasion and was like in the 20s, 30s, whatever, and be like, would they like immediately like be falling for him kind of thing, like just because he's like, you saved me from those criminals?
I'd be grateful, but I don't know who he is, so how can I fall for him?
Maybe it's just because the film focuses on like Mary Jane, and
I think she already knows that it's him though, really, because she's kind of falling for Peter,
right? In a way,
but
it's obviously the appeal of this guy in like leather spandex is
just going around saving the world,
or New York more specifically. There's a couple of things like the memorable like kissing hanging upside down in the rain scene is one of the things that stands out for, and a lot of people remember the film for an iconic scene.
I'm sure lots of people have tried to mimic that kiss as well, to be fair.
Other noteworthy things on this is obviously like the turning point of how Harry's Norman Osborn dies, and Harry blames Spider-Man for what's happened, because obviously he just put him down like being a good Samaritan essentially. He's putting him laid to rest in the estate or whatever. And it's like that's kind of set up for
Spider-Man killed my dad.
So the vengeance story for the second one and everything, and then of the end, the kind of bittersweet scenario of Mary Jane, like say, I love you, Peter, I kind of like feel like I always have kind of thing, and it's like, I do love you too, but I have to push you away because, or say not reveal my true feelings because I don't want to hurt the ones I love type of thing. You can't really explain.
Yeah, and he don't
So-
want what he's doing kind of to get her
Put her in
involved,
danger,
and
even-
since she's already been in danger and he's had to save her like millions of times in the
Already-
first one.
Yeah. And there's that. I'll go back to the kiss thing. It's obviously she kissed Spider-Man not knowing it was Peter, and then kissing him at the funeral, and it's kind of like a bit of a lingering, like, that seems familiar, that kiss kind of thing. And it's like,
I think she's already kind of knowing already, matching the
Yeah.
pieces. She's not daft, is she?
and that's how that one ends. So that's a good solid start. I find.
I
So,
really enjoyed that
yeah.
one, actually. Really
Yeah.
enjoyed the characters, the acting skills. I think MJ is a lovable character, and so is Spider-Man and Peter Parker in this.
Yeah.
And even Harry, bless him, is kind of works out well until he's kind of the second one comes along.
Okay. So would you want to do a rating for this now? Yeah. And then we'll go systematically through.
Yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
trying to think of what I want to rate
Okay.
it. So I think for this one, it will be a solid 8, just for the fact that it's a good Spider-Man basis. It's got the main franchise of why it becomes Spider-Man. It's interesting to see a little bit of a different adaptation, and it's got the romanticised as well, which I quite enjoy, but a bit of action within it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I'm also going an 8 as well.
Well done.
Because
Read your mind.
it's very enjoyable, and obviously one of the most a solid attachment to, really, with, like at a time when superhero films were sort of finding the footing. This was like a good benchmark for a solid superhero film. Some of the rounds of these early 2000s were a bit like not so strong, and obviously benchmark and leading up to what we know for the Marvel Cinematic Universe and stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just a good solid origin story. Yeah, and effects are pretty good. They hold up fairly well for what they are,
And the age of the film as well. Yeah, definitely.
Don't feel too.
No.
Feels sort of its time, early 2000s, but not too
It
much
felt like that just for
Yeah.
the music and the certain
Yeah.
kind of vibe that you got with it, but
I think it still works.
yeah,
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
feel dated or
Yeah,
anything like that.
So now on to the second film, which I feel like is a lot stronger in terms of what it's got for storyline purposes. You kind of got obviously you had the initial setup from the first film with the origin story and all that, and now it's kind of focusing on like how Peter's now like dealing with everything thrown at him, really, in terms of life problems, really, his relationship, like catching up with school and saving the city at the same time, and all this kind of
He's
stuff
really
that's
struggling to
happening.
balance like work-life balance. It's like just anything. It's like he's struggling with school, he's struggling with relationships, he's wanting to save the world because he thinks that's the only way he can justify his death of his uncle, and that's kind of put in the back burner, and he's just been immersing in Spider-Man basically.
Yeah, he just can't catch a break, and he's putting so much pressure on himself. It's kind of like
He's gonna burn out, but pretty much like he's trying to do so good, bless him, and he's just you can't do everything.
No, really can't.
So I feel like this one is more humble and really lovely Spider-Man within this one.
And in this one, we've got a more interesting villain in the form of Dr. Octopus.
Trying to think who Dr. Octopus is. That's really bad of me, isn't it? Oh, I remember. I think it's because he's a villain, but he's not. I think this is the whole thing with villains, isn't it? There's always a reason. So actually,
I can't believe you don't remember.
Peter was working with him, wasn't he?
Yeah,
and they
yeah.
were friends, and
Yeah.
he was really interested and wanted to kind of do good with his uni work.
Yeah.
That he was like befriending this person.
Yeah.
And he had this amazing experiment that was meant to be revolutionary and help everybody out, and it just went terribly wrong. Which Peter did kind of say, "Have you done all your research on this?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
it could go badly." And sadly, that's what happened. He's not really like an octopus. He just has lots of tentacles and like weird grabby things on him.
Yeah. He's got 4 mechanical arms and 2 arms, 2 legs, so that makes the octopus. That's where that comes from.
Yeah, but it doesn't look like he's an actual octopus
No,
under
no.
the sea. That's why when
No,
you
no.
said it, I was thinking of an
No, no.
octopus.
Yeah.
I didn't know that's what it was called.
Doc Ock, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what with the Daily Bugle.
Do you know what it reminds me of? The
Yeah.
little things, like on the end of him,
Yeah.
like his claws.
Yeah.
You know when you do a science project and you have like the vault bit or something like that?
Crocodile clips.
Yeah, that's what it kind of,
Yeah.
I think of, the wires and you
Yes.
converting the electricity through. Remember that? I do quite like science when I was younger. I did enjoy it. I don't know. I feel like bless him, this is something where it's gone wrong and these octopus claw things are taking control of him then.
That's it, yeah. So from the experiment going wrong and it's kind of like infused within his brain, so they've kind of got more going on, controlling him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's kind of like another, like, he doesn't really want to do it. It's kind of conflicting with himself, but it's kind of like, no, we need to continue this experiment.
Project on and...
Yeah.
So you've got kind of him to defeat with.
Yes.
But you've also got Harry learning the past of his dad as well within this.
Yeah, kind of coming to terms with what's happened. And again, it's kind of like a hatred for Peter because he, he's taking pictures of Spider-Man. It's like, oh, why are you on his side type of thing? And so
why are you not telling me where he is and I want to kill Spider-Man?
It really feels like Peter's got no friends at all, pretty much, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as well, he does establish what his dad was, and obviously this mirror talks, well, the portrait talks to Harry, and then it opens this glass mirror where all the Green Goblin
that's at the very end,
stuff is for him. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you kind of get to a point of where you can see a new generation of the Green Goblin coming.
We'll get to that.
Two.
Yeah.
So there's all of that going on, as well as MJ kind of, bless her, wanting to be
success in Broadway and everything. She seems to like she's got to act together with everything and kind of a bit more of a success than Peter is. But obviously Spider-Man is still successful to New York.
He is, but then the newspaper articles that he's taking photos of are not really giving him good publicity at this time.
Yeah.
They're kind of slamming him.
To mention about John Jameson or whatever. Obviously he's what's it, Fletcher from Whiplash. We did, yeah. And yes, and even obviously like this was a time when I was watching films and there's like, I didn't really know like actors' names and stuff, like kind of getting into the stride with watching films and stuff. But I can totally believe that from what I've known of him in the comics, how his character is like, he's brash and everything. He plays that so well in terms of like, it's like snappy and like, oh, you're fired, get out.
Do you think that's just who he is?
I think that's, yeah, he's just how his performance, he just gives.
It just seems to have that kind of persona about him where it's like, you have these actors and actresses that just fit that niche.
Exactly, yeah.
And they don't really tend to branch out into other kind of areas.
But it gets to a point, obviously bringing it back around to Spider-Man, when he's kind of like, oh, I don't want to be Spider-Man anymore, really. So he's kind of like throws the towel in, and you kind of get a glimpse of how things are without Spider-Man being there, like, like a bit like It's a Wonderful Life, almost like what if Spider-Man didn't exist and police were just...
Oh, does that mean this is a Christmas film now? Is that how clutching at straws?
No. I'm just saying that comparatively, like, if Spider-Man wasn't a thing, what happens to the city? Yeah. So even like the Daily Bugle's like, oh, we kind of miss Spider-Man, obviously. And at this point, because he's so stressed, I feel like it's all in his head. Spider-Man's kind of losing his powers a little bit. Yeah,
it reminded us of Kiki's delivery service, didn't it?
Yeah.
Where she's like trying to juggle so many things that actually she loses the true meaning behind it.
Yeah, that was a bit more of a growing up thing as well for her, whereas I think it's all just down to...
He's burnt out, literally.
So much, yeah.
He can't do more than he possibly can't, and it's one or the other. I think he has to choose, and he's gone back to his normal life.
Yeah.
But you can see that it's itching that he still wants to be Spider-Man. That's who he is.
Yeah, because he goes, when he's back to his old self, he's like back to wearing glasses and being...
his muscles decrease as well, like magically overnight.
You don't really see that, so it's maybe implied, perhaps, but...
He doesn't look as buff.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just the way he walks, I don't know, he just doesn't look as...
No, and then at the back end, it's Mary Jane figures, it's Spider-Man, I think, again, through the lack of mask on his face when he comes to fighting Doc Ock at the end for the rematch and everything, so...
And then they seem to be able to kind of be like, okay, we're going to give it a go, basically.
Yeah.
At the end. And it still is a solid film. I don't remember as much probably as I do the first one.
But I think I remember you saying a while ago, or when we were watching it even, you mentioned about going to the Universal and there was this Spider-Man
Oh, yeah.
3D 4D ride where you're on that the train
I
and
remember
find
the
Doc Octopus.
and
Spider-Man
he's scared
yeah.
the living crap out of me to the point of where I feel so sorry for my mum and my dad because they obviously paid to go to Universal and I was such an ungrateful child. I really was. That they put me on this ride. I just don't think I was ready for it. It was like a train. It was like that scene.
Yeah.
But
It's one of the best scenes.
And then also it kind of felt like this thing floated up as well into the sky. And I think I saw Green Goblin at one point.
Oh, right, okay.
So it went up and into like you could see the top of the New York Towers and stuff like that. And I was like, no.
Yeah, I'm not very good with that kind of stuff.
And then obviously Green Goblin came at me as well. And I was like, I don't like it. Okay. So I took my 3D glasses off.
Safest way to resolve that, I guess, yeah.
But I was still thinking I could see them.
Yeah.
I could see something.
Yeah.
Anyways, it wasn't like they just disappeared when I took my glasses off. It was still something there.
But just really blurred.
Yeah, but I think that made it scarier somehow.
I can imagine, yeah.
Oh, it's just like the Jaws thing. I think I was only 13 years old though.
Okay.
So it's not like completely ridiculous to not be. It was in year 6, so I might have been a bit younger.
I don't know if that's a unrealistic age, but if maybe at 8 or going on 10, maybe a bit like,
I was a bit naive though.
Yeah.
That probably was like the persona of an 8 and a 9-year-old.
Yeah, that's one of the pinnacle shots, the scenes in the film where it's like I'm just slowed the train down so much. He's actually like to the breaking point of thing, and everyone's kind of like, like, oh, really? He's just a kid, kind of thing, and everything's kind of the community then stepping in, like, even though obviously
leave Spider-Man alone
type of thing, but even though that this Doc Ock's like up his parts, and then it's like, just get rid of him. So it's like,
but it works out for the best in the end for him, I think, even though he does Dr. Ock kind of sacrifices himself.
Yeah.
He becomes himself again, and he realizes what is meant to be, so it shows that he's actually is a good person overall. I don't think he's a really bad
redemption for him. Yeah, so I got another good tick for the film, really, and
really good storyline as well with both the first and the second, I would say.
Yeah, very solid. And then
nothing where you think, okay, that seems a little bit, why did you put that in there?
Yeah, exactly. There's nothing in these two films where it's kind of like, oh, this is dragging or anything. It's just enjoyable. And
were
even
they the
after
same length as the third? Were they like?
No, the third one was maybe like half an hour longer or something.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Which, again, we will get to that, but that's a downfall on that part, really. So, is there anything else with this one, the second one?
Just Green Goblin, obviously.
Oh yeah.
Harry becoming
the new. Yeah, he's kind of realizing, what's all this tech and stuff. It's kind of like it leaves it open ended there. Which I was going to say, the fact of if there was the second film end the way it does, like, oh yeah, that'd be fine, but it keeps it open ended for the fact that Harry discovers all this goblin gear in the back room and stuff.
Which,
where obviously that leads to, there's got to be a third one after this,
and there is obviously.
Yeah,
but I feel like for him, he's not as bad as he seems, doesn't Harry? As well, yet again, he's not as bad as his dad.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem as much of a nemesis of a baddie, really.
No, not really. But Peter gets the girl at the end, really, because she's supposed to be married to Jonah Jameson's.
Oh yeah, I forgot that she was meant to be getting engaged. Yeah,
captain, and she stands him up and runs to Peter. Oh, I think again that's after the realization. Oh, you were Spider-Man all along.
Yeah, pretty much. She's a bit fickle, bless her. Yeah. She just goes after man after man after man, doesn't she? Really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you kind of think, is she worthy of Spider-Man at this point?
She's kind of always there for me, even through the time. Is really they kind of have the falling outs and everything.
Well, they're on, they're off, they're on, they're off. It's like literally one of those horrible relationships where Taylor Swift should just be like, we're never getting back together. That's literally how it feels.
Yeah. Okay, so scoring for this?
I'm probably going to cut just a little bit lower just because of the memories. Also, I think it's, as well, I can't clearly remember this one as much, so I'm wondering if that doesn't impact me as much. For my memory kind of did get passed through. It's I seem to remember the first one quite well, and this one, it's all coming back to me when we talk about it.
Right, okay.
So I'd say it's probably a 7.5.
Okay.
Are you going higher?
Yeah, at the time, I'm still going to, I'm still going to go where I probably would have given it from back in the day. Obviously, on hindsight of what Into the Spider-Verse offers as a Spider-Man story, that's like a 10. And visuals and everything, that I found fantastic, phenomenal film. I'm still going to give this one a 9.
Okay.
Even from obviously back then, it'd be like, yeah, that's 9 out of 10 film. It's solid, maybe version on 10 thing, but I think it's pushed down from what Into the Spider-Verse offers in terms of the visual story and all the interesting stuff that film's got going on. So that's a lot higher. That bumps up that down a notch, really. But I don't think it's 8. I wouldn't say it's 10.5 because it's not like it's gone down in my books or anything like that. I just really prefer this one over the first one's great. Don't get me wrong, everything, but just all the interesting story arcs that Pete has to go through and everything, all the hoops and everything. It's just has a lot more to offer than the first one, and that's a good thing. Obviously, sequels notoriously like, oh, why do we do that? But this is a solid one of those rare instances, I think, where the sequel is
like Home Alone 2.
Yeah, for me anyway.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah. It's more just the memory of being in Universal, and
I accept that. Yeah, it's fine. There's a trauma.
Yeah. But it is. I would watch it again, and it's not unenjoyable at all.
Yeah.
I personally think I prefer the first.
Okay, that's fine. And now we're on to the third one, the main event, which I don't know where I start really with.
It's crap.
Yeah, let's go into saying, like, don't get me wrong, it's not like, oh, this is absolute unwatchable crap.
No.
It's serviceable, but it's just such a letdown. It's obviously a high benchmark from the second one to third, and it's like...
It feels so long-winded, it just feels like it goes on forever. I think I'd have several little toilet breaks or snack breaks within this, and it's like, I know if we're in the cinema, I'd be like, when's this going to end?
Yeah. I remember seeing the cinema, and I was just like, I didn't like it back then.
Really?
And obviously I wasn't as...
You love Spider-Man as well,
as on films. I think it was just daft, really, for some of the beats that the film has, and it
just goes on forever. And there's some cringe moments, isn't there?
In the just.
There's some like, oh my god, this is not Spider-Man, this is just not right, and I don't really know. I feel like they should have just left it on the second one, to be fair.
That's what I was meaning before, like, at the end of how the Spider-Man 2 ends, it's kind of like a go get him tiger, and then it's like, yeah, he's not swinging, and that'd be that. But obviously they had to close the arc with Harry finding the goblin stuff, so it's like, oh, you have to bring him back as a villain. And the issue, I think, that there's too many villains storylines in this. It's trying to cram too much into the film. Even
Peter becomes a bit of a villain within this, to be fair.
Yeah, that's what the studio wanted, really.
But why would you want your hero to become bad? I don't like Spider-Man in this one at all. Like, I just think he's an arse.
Even from the very beginning, when he's kind of like with MJ and it's like everything's all hunky dory.
No, because he's not being him. Like, he's like
too cocky,
and he's like, oh, all self-absorbed because he thinks he's amazing and he's made it.
Spider-Man,
Yep, and then he's like, oh, we're going to propose, and it's like, she'd just be happy with a burger, probably. She's a down-to-earth girl. She don't need the glitz and the glam. That's not who either of you are.
I think Mary Jane would probably want a bit of a glitz and the glam, to be fair.
She's happy with how he is. She doesn't need him to change. She loves him for who he is.
He's still in that crappy apartment.
Yeah, but, it's not like she's always wanted the fine life. They both grew up in the same area.
Yeah.
The person I feel sorry for the most is the Sandman.
Yeah, he's definitely the most sympathetic one in this, and especially his origin story with that, and how that scene where he, like, when he becomes Sandman after the fact, and he's kind of like, trying to retrieve that locket and everything. There's all the music and that's quite a good scene. He's kind of getting used to, like, dealing with how he is now and everything. Yeah, so yeah, he's one of the better elements of the film. That scene. I
really like him. I'm like, when he's at the end beating the shit out of Spider-Man, I'm like, yeah, go for it. He's an arse. He deserves it.
Maybe not what I was expecting from that. I think it's just more he's from what he's trying to do is.
Well, he's got a
his
daughter
reasoning.
that is
Yeah.
obviously not really well, and he's just wanting money just so, because obviously in America you don't have like the NHS or anything like that, where you have to pay to go to hospital.
Yeah.
That's why nobody goes.
That's why he didn't go to Peter Parker didn't go to the doctor's like, check this out, spider bite. I said, I'll just walk it off. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
I'm sure they could go to like the doctors and ask.
I think this will charge.
Did
for
they?
that. Yeah,
That's
just
ridiculous.
have a look. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like,
Maybe,
Yeah,
yeah. But you could at least have spoken to Aunt May about it and said.
and when we see Green Goblin as well, or New Goblin, whatever you want to call him, he looks like of the time, like some kind of hip, trendy. Like
Well, he's younger, isn't he?
It doesn't even look like a goblin in any shape or form.
I don't think he looks like a goblin in any of them, to be fair.
Right.
Because what I class as a goblin, that's why I was like, none of them are green either.
Yes, they are. The first one was.
A dark green.
Yeah.
But
Still
it looks
green
like
though.
black.
Different metallic lighting. If it was green, I can assure you.
It don't look green.
But he's just, yeah, it's kind of like I get you needed to have that thing to close that chapter in the book, and it's like a brief fight at the beginning of the film, and then it's like, oh, it gets knocked out whereas like Amnesia, and it's like, oh, kind of forgets and everything, so Peter's like, yes, thank God. Yeah,
We're friends again.
Yeah.
And he's not remembered about his dad's past and everything like that, and seemed to be in a good place again, which I think he actually has missed the relationship with Harry, and MJ's happy that
friends again. Yeah.
You also get a first encounter of Gwen Stacy.
Yeah.
Which took me a while to figure out who she was as an actress, and I'm looking at her thinking, she looks a younger version of somebody.
If she would have been the young version. No.
I'm like, I don't know who she is, but her face looks familiar, and when she was talking, she looked familiar. And I'm like, I said to you, didn't I? Does she have different hair? I mean, she's not normally blonde, is she?
No.
And then I realised it dawned on me, the only film I can remember her in, that's really bad, would be Jurassic World.
Yes, that's right.
I was very proud of myself because you didn't have to tell me, it came to me.
Yeah.
Don't know her name, actress. Name.
Bryce Dallas Howard, I think.
That's a bit of a tongue twister, isn't it?
But I think you also said, oh, that's kind of like some setup for, well, there's going to be some like love triangle thing going on there or something.
Well, I knew that because I think Gwen Stacy
she was another like love interest, but the way they did it in this film, it was Mary Jane before Gwen Stacy, or the kind of like intertwining, whereas I think in the comics and in The Amazing Spider-Man, with Emma Stone, whereas Gwen Stacy was a love interest solely on her own before Mary Jane was on the scene.
So, who's Emma Stone?
Gwen Stacy.
Oh, okay, she's actually Gwen Stacy. Right, okay, get you. Yeah. God, that's confusing.
How is it?
Because she's redhead, but she has to be blonde.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, but
why couldn't she just be MJ?
Yeah, but she's naturally blonde, so...
Yeah, but she's... come on. I mean, Emma Stone for a red hair, not a blonde hair. Also, I noticed that Gwen Stacy had like a Peter Parker kind of boyfriend who's a photographer or wants to be with
Eddie
her.
Brock, yeah.
Yeah, they're not actually together, but he thinks they are. Like, bless him, he's a forever hopeful sort of thing, and he's kind of stepping on Peter's toes at the newspaper place as well with his photographies, composition, lighting. Yeah, but you just need to get the shot as well, don't you, at the same time?
Yeah, I kind of wanted your take on like how important that is in terms of like for lighting and stuff. Is it obviously quality over style over substance? Sorry, is that more the thing with that like?
Well, I think obviously it helps definitely to get better lighting and better composition and everything like that. But if he misses his opportunity by trying to have that perfect, then somebody else has got the photo. They're going to go with that, aren't they? Yeah.
So it's more time sensitive type. Yeah,
especially with the kind of journalism photographs. I don't think it's as key. As long as you've got the shot, it doesn't really matter.
Shot. Yeah, okay.
Whereas if you were doing like a gallery, then you need your composition and lighting, and maybe if it's a photo shoot, and it's going in a newspaper in a magazine, that's different.
Obviously, got more opportunity to do that. Haven't you?
Yeah. Whereas if you need to take that shot,
Spider-Man swinging is a bit difficult. You only get a couple of shots to do.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I don't think that'd be the easiest thing. Is like capturing a bird in flight.
No. But in amongst all this as well, with everything going on, the symbiote from space comes crashing down, like, conveniently, like, passing by, like, a little tiny meteorite comes down and with this alien.
Which is so ironic, because they're looking at the stars, and then this thing just flows past because they're too busy kissing.
Making out, yeah.
And they don't get to see the meteorite.
Yeah, land. And so it attaches to the little... Is it a scooter that he rides?
Something
a little
like
gimpy
that.
scooter?
Yeah.
And so that's how it gets to the city and somehow lingers around Peter's room, which I don't really think it just decided to hitch a ride and then didn't, like, jump off when he saw some other people in the city. He kind of just, like, latches onto Peter and then just goes all the way to Peter's apartment and just sits there, just around there for, like...
I don't know how it grows, like, or spawns, like, to be bigger, like...
It kind of just... It's trying to get a host, and then it just consumes it and like, oh, that's the form I'm taking now, type of thing.
This is where you get, like, emo dark Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Let's just go back to MJ for this. I really feel hurt for her in this, like, I really do. So, like, Spider-Man's doing really well. Everyone's like, oh, he's amazing. Everyone loves him. He's like, at the top of his game.
Yeah.
And she's not doing so great. She had a bad review and then she got laid off on a job.
Yeah.
And he's not really there listening to her. Every time she says something, he's bringing it around on himself again.
Like, that's nice, dear, type of thing.
And he's not fully paying attention.
Yeah.
So he's thinking, oh, we're at a really good stage. I want to propose. But before that happens, like, what man thinks this is a good idea? Like, everyone's saying, kiss her, kiss. You know, like, so Gwen Stacy's said, oh, and I'm jumping to this bit, and obviously there was a fight bit, which happened. But Gwen Stacy's like, oh, this man, Spider-Man, we're giving the key to the city, he's saved everything, he's amazing. And he's coming in, like, doing the traditional Spider-Man kind of upside down kiss.
Yeah, which I don't, when they're like, oh, kiss him like that, it's like, well, they weren't, nobody else in the city, so that wasn't like a thing that was televised for them to see. So, like, how do they know, like, oh, that's a thing that he does, as if, like, he does that, maybe, does he do that a lot with people?
Well, I hope like, not, since he's in a serious relationship with MJ, so it better not be.
Yeah, but to your point, it's kind of like, why would you do that publicised kiss and then be like, right, I'm going to propose to MJ tonight?
Yeah, like, in what right mind does any man think?
He knows she's there watching.
Yeah.
So it's like, why do that? Why be?
Well, I think it'd been okay if it were over the mask. Like, he should have kissed the mask. Like, but the fact that she pulls it down, that's when it's like a no-no.
Like a proper.
Yeah,
like...
that's when it's like, okay, no. Like, kiss on the cheek on the mask, fine. You're kissing Spider-Man, but now she's kissing Peter. In my opinion,
exactly. Yeah, that's what she says. Who was kissing her? Was it Peter or Spider-Man?
And it made it worse because he actually was at uni with her, so he knows her. So it's not like just this random woman is saved. Now it's like you know her and you work work as a partner with her.
Yeah.
So do you actually like her?
Yeah, and he's all like stone faced and it's like, I don't see what I did wrong here, type of thing. And it's
like, how do you not see what you've done wrong? Absolute idiot. And so then just he rattles me then. And MJ obviously storms off and he doesn't get his proposal.
Yeah.
And he's left on his own, which he deserves.
Yeah. And eventually it gets worse anyway because, like I say, he turns emo. His attitude comes completely just what the hell, and he's doing this like walking down the street doing the like
when he's thrusting as well.
Yeah, it's like that's. Ugh.
He doesn't seem comfortable doing that though. The actor, you can tell he feels a bit like that's not who he is either.
Yeah,
he's good at playing the nice guy, and I think this bit where he's playing this role, he struggles a little bit.
Yeah, trying to play the bad guy doesn't come off that strong. It's like me trying to be nasty. It just doesn't work
unless you're yelling at an inanimate object. Then you could be nasty.
Yeah, but in terms of to a person,
no, you can't. No, you can't really hurt anybody. Bless you. Oh, that sounds horrible. Am I being patronising now? I'm sorry.
Maybe just a tad.
I'm sorry. But no, you wouldn't. I think if anyone out of me and you, I'd probably be the bitch.
Yeah, I can believe that.
Right. If somebody crossed me, then you're dead to me.
And one of the other villains that we got in terms of it's just really bad. The iteration of Venom when you got Eddie Brock becoming him, and this rubs me the wrong way very much so as well. In terms of what I expected him to look like particularly. I know Venom as this big, like, hulking,
Is
monstrous...
it like a spider thing? Is it like what is more at the end? Like, he has lots of legs and sharply pointy.
Yeah, it's all more like that accumulative thing and almost gargantuan in terms of size compared to what this one is. This is... I think you said that you could confuse this as, oh, well, that's almost like the Peter Parker black suit Spider-Man before, because it's like the same structure. It's just that he's got like a alien face and some claws on him instead. So it's like, that doesn't reflect that at all, like, in a good sense for the first thing.
Well, initially they think it's Spider-Man anyways, don't they, people?
Yeah.
Because he's obviously been the black Spider-Man.
Yeah. But then it's clearly not, because he's got the thing. But, the voice, it's just, again, I know Spider-Man has this normal voice when he's Spider-Man as well, I guess. Not like a Batman with a deep voice or anything. It's a voice changer. So that kind of put me off as well, especially this time around, where I listened thinking, well, he doesn't even sound like intimidating when because I see Venom as like a deep, throaty, otherworldly voice kind of thing going on. That doesn't.
I've never really seen Venom, and I know you went to the cinema and saw the new release. And
it was okay, but it still didn't. It's not quite. I think it needs to be a bit more R-rated in terms of the content. It needs to be a bit more violent and stuff like.
What you like?
Yeah.
So I don't really know from the comic magazines what. So for me, I don't really know what he should look like.
Not this.
So
just not this.
It doesn't really affect me or grate on me the way it does you.
Also the peeking through the every 2 minutes, going "Hello, Peter."
But also, he seemed to be able to be Peter's face, like towards the Sandman. He had.
You what? Sorry.
So when he said, "Oh, we need to get Spider-Man,"
yeah,
and they were kind of teaming up with Sandman and Venom, he portrayed Peter's face on his face at one point, so it's like he's able to shape shift into whatever. I don't know. It seemed really weird because because I was like, that's Peter, and it's not actually. He had black hair.
I must have missed that.
Oh,
I don't remember. I don't recall.
It did.
Okay.
I'm adamant
Maybe
it did
just
because I
a
wrote
dodgy
it down.
CGI effect. Maybe
There was a lot of dodgy CGI
there was, to be honest,
effects.
in this was
Which is weird because it's technology's progressed and you don't really see it in the others. So why is it getting worse?
Some of the swinging scenes or like the action stuff is like
MJ's legs were just going everywhere. They were like, "What the hell?" She looks like
so
spaghetti.
weird. Yeah, it's more prominent this time around with that. So that's another letdown and everything. And it's just just what I expected from the Venom character was just not there for me, really. And he's kind of like shoehorned in the last half hour, really.
Yeah, I think
it was rushed.
The only one I think I really liked was the Sandman. He looked
like he's in terms of like effects, good effects.
Yeah.
So the sand grains and obviously like that, and where his big hulking.
He looked like the Hulk, really, to me. He kind of had
that really worked. Yeah,
soft, gentle giant kind of Hulk appeal. Yeah. And you felt for him a little bit, and you knew really he just wanted. He even said, "I'm not bad," and he didn't want to be bad. I know also Spider-Man, when he found out that he hadn't revenged his his uncle's killer. Yeah. He then kind of has to go after the Sandman. And Aunt May, bless her, she looks shocked that Spider-Man's done that because she's like, Spider-Man doesn't kill people. Yeah. It's not for us to say for a person to die. Mm-hmm. And she seemed quite upset about the fact that that had happened. Yes. I don't know if Aunt May secretly knows he's Spider-Man.
Because he was like fumbling over his words a little bit there. He was like, he...
Yeah.
I thought you'd be happy kind of thing. And so it's like, it's like he was trying to cover his tracks a little bit, but it's like, well, you can maybe let the cat out of the bag there a little bit.
I think a little bit. But bless her, she's so lovely as Aunt May. She don't give it away, like, even though she knows, she'll let him come to it in his own time.
No, yeah.
I think then you've got this kind of vicious love triangle circle thing that's happening, which just aggravates me even more and rattles me. So you've got MJ and Peter kind of now on a bit of a break. MJ's giving him the cold shoulder after him kissing Gwen Stacy. Yep. And she's feeling a bit lonely. Peter's trying to ring, and then he just gives up. Mm-hmm. And then when MJ's wanting to kind of give it a go, Peter's like, at this stage, because obviously he's got that Venom kind of black suit on now. Yeah.
Persona's changed,
And then obviously MJ's like, oh, I'm lonely, so I'll go and meet Harry. And Harry's still like the old Harry at this point. Yeah. He's not realised who he is yet still. Yeah. They have a kiss, and then MJ's like walking out, and I'm like, well, it's your fault. You shouldn't have kissed him.
You leaned in, yeah.
Yeah, you were the one who instigated it all. You came to his place, so like, you shouldn't have been dancing with him. She was always the one that initiated it.
Yeah.
So then somehow Harry then from that just his dad's in the portrait, talks to him again, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay. Quick turnaround there.
Yeah.
On that. It's like, okay. Need to move the story along now. Come on. Yeah.
Yeah, since it's like 2 hours long. And then he becomes evil again, and she's kind of MJ wants to ring Peter, I think, and kind of like talk to him and resolve things.
Well, that is all set up, isn't it? It's like, I want to see you at the park, and it's like, so that you can see, like...
But I think she did actually want to she wanted, before Harry came in and tried to choke her, I think she was going to probably contact Peter.
Oh, yeah. That made you jump, didn't you?
Yeah, I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
I think that was the only bit that kind of startled me in this film. Nothing else really fazed me.
No.
And obviously MJ has to be forced to break up.
Yeah, they both have a little, like...
Oh, it's such crap acting.
On this one.
It's so poor, and I don't understand why. I think he's worse than her.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of Spider-Man memes, if you look on Google and
Shit.
stuff. With someone like the cry face and like...
What's with the lip, like, quivering?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
She does it as well. It's like, what is this?
Trying too hard. I don't know.
Oh, Jesus.
Be sad. Okay.
Yeah.
Not to that extreme. Yeah. And there's accumulating with stuff like why do we need the whole jazzy scene? You know, like the this is what I want to see in a Spider-Man film, like doing in a jazz club, doing like a ding 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 and all the dancing stuff. Like, this isn't what Spider-Man's about.
And also being like an absolute dick of a move, bringing Gwen Stacy.
Yeah.
That to me makes me think, well, if I were MJ, it's like, well, I wasn't wrong.
Yeah. It's not going to turn me around, is it? It's like, oh, well.
No, if you're making me jealous, I've actually just said all of this to you. That's why we've been separated. And now you've just proved me right, pretty much. So why would I want to be with you?
Exactly.
That's literally what a woman would think. It's like, I'm not thinking that you're amazing now and like, oh, I must have you.
No, absolutely.
Like, absolute dick. It's just a shit movie. It's just so shit. And it's like, he's a shitty character. And then I do feel sorry for Gwen Stacy because she actually apologises to MJ. Like, not many girls do that.
Yeah.
And would kind of go along with it just because the guy's like, even though he's doing it for MJ, and Gwen realises that, and straight away is absolutely mortified and feels sorry for her because she knows how it would feel if it was her.
Yeah, I know. It's all dickish and it's not a good look.
Just don't behave like that. It's just not right.
Any more to say on this, really? I've got one more other bit about Venom, really.
I have a question about Venom.
Yeah.
What's this metal thing where, like, the bell, what's that? And then the metal steel things at the end seems to engage this alien thing. Why does he not like that?
The vibrations of the bell from, he's kind of like I remember from when I rang the bell and getting rid of the suit in the church tower, and that got rid of that weakened the symbiote stuff.
But why? Like, I
don't know too much information about if that's something that's part of the comic book lore or anything like that, but it's kind of just a means of, this will defeat him and get him separate the two.
Just feel like it's a really, cop-out kind of loophole. Like, it's like, this will work.
Yeah.
And then he kills Venom, basically. Because he tries to pull him out.
And Eddie Brock, yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, no, I want to go back in the suit. And it's like, okay, fine, whatever.
He's dead now.
Yeah. That was like a weird explode, implode thing going on there. So like, that's not believable.
Pokeballs as well, to be fair.
Yeah,
these things that Green Goblin had got, and they did. Yeah. Also, to be fair, Harry did team up with forgetting the fact.
I was like, I forgive you, Peter, yeah.
Yeah, and he knew that actually it wasn't his dad. It wasn't Peter.
The old butler was like,
could have done that ages ago.
Exactly, yeah. Second film. Could have done that.
And told him that,
Like, thanks, man. Yeah. At this point, Harry's got like a scar on his face from a bomb being thrown in his face from before.
Pokeball.
Yeah. So
Pokeball
it's like,
bomb.
could have told me for that before. Old man, yeah. But in terms of why I feel like Venom was kind of like shoehorned in or whatever, Sam Raimi, director, was pressured into including Venom into the story by the Sony executives or producers.
Oh, right. So
Really,
it wasn't a choice, actually, for it to be put in.
No, I think he kind of would have been fine with Sandman and the New Goblin. Really, just kind of like a closing thing for that.
Mm.
And that would have been that, or maybe another smaller villain, which I think was the Vulture, which was in the Tom Holland one. Homecoming, I think it was called, if I remember. So for that reason, the character suffered, because Sam Raimi thought like he didn't really understand like Venom's motives, really, in terms of, you know, like a bit of a disconnect and like lack of humanity in terms of like what he represents. So it's kind of like well, just kind of shove him in because he's a fan favorite.
Right.
Obviously, the Sony are thinking, right, we need something more memorable than just the Vulture's not. Unless you read the comics and stuff, he's known as a Spider-Man villain, but Venom is like the big one that everyone associates with a big thing. So it's kind of like, yeah, let's put him in and just don't care how you do it, just do it. And it's like,
but if somebody's not in tune with it or doesn't know what needs to be done, then it's hard to kind of get it.
So that's why it falls.
And
flat.
I think it's just the whole dark Spider-Man. Like, he's meant to be heroic, and I can understand like a Spider-Man can fall down, or any hero can.
Yeah.
But not to that dickish level.
Yeah, it's too much.
Yeah, it is for who he is. And for the actor, I think he just can't seem to portray that very well. It makes his performance weak, and he isn't in the other two.
No,
so
exactly. Yeah,
it's out of his comfort zone.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree. Yeah,
it's not a crap film. It's horrible. No. I've seen crapper.
Yeah,
I 100% have.
But in terms of what
compared to the other two,
there's no contest.
You would be definitely felt let down if I'm glad I didn't pay for it to go see it in the cinema.
Yeah.
I did ask you, like, why did you want it for Christmas if the third one's shit? Why didn't you just get like 1 and 2?
Because they just come as part of the package, don't they? So
it's annoying.
But on reflection, it's kind of good to talk about this, and that's why I wanted to do it and see, like, wrap up those chapters of the trilogy and get your thoughts on it, really. So, what's your final verdict for Spider-Man 3?
I think it's going to have to be 5.5.
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just because it's the acting, I can't put up with the Spider-Man being emo-y, dark, and just a dick. I just can't. He just really annoys me. I just don't gel with him. Okay. I don't think any man should treat a woman like that.
No.
And he's just so cocky, and I actually prefer Sexy Beasts over this. I can't believe I'm saying that. He seems a better.
There's a lot more.
Well, he's such a more humble man towards a woman.
Yeah.
So at least he's not actually like an absolute arsewipe.
Yeah.
And it just annoys me. Everything just in this film annoys me. And it just went on forever.
Yeah. Except for Sandman, maybe.
Sandman, love him.
Yeah.
I love him. I do. He's such a humble character. He's like the Samwise Gamgee for me in this film, which is like really pushing it.
Yeah, trying to clutch at something there.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah, really, yeah. Okay. I think I will go 6, I guess.
That's generous.
Yeah, I think a bit more. Obviously, it's kind of because it's Spider-Man. There's still something there, really. I can't give it like, oh, this is really rubbish. It's not like one of those that I can't really say it's absolutely don't watch it type of thing.
I think it's like the first half of it is quite good. And it's like where they're strong acting and where they're comfortable, and then it's the second bit where it goes weird, and it's just like, what am I watching now?
The length of the film it's not necessary. It could have shaved good 20-30 minutes off it, really.
Well, the jazz scene could have gone, and that would have saved some time.
Exactly, yeah. Obviously the high point is the Sandman character, really.
Glad we agree.
Just trying to think if there's anything else I can say that's really like a positive, really, that justifies the 6. But I think it's the music. Obviously the cinematic score we've got going on is still there from the previous ones and stuff. That's always a good thing. One thing I've mentioned about the second opening credits that I like, kind of like how that one was kind of like reiterating like what happened in the first film, but that was kind of done like in a stylized artwork style, like scenes from the first film. Whereas this one is kind of like he'll give you a recap of the first two films in like snippets and stuff like this. His Uncle Ben, and here's like you getting the suit and pulling it apart and everything like that kind of stuff. So that's not great, really. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how else to closing thoughts on it, really, other than the fact that it is what it is. I still say you can watch it. It's not like wow, it blew me away. That was a great ending to the
it's not really rubbish, but it's just not. If you like Spider-Man and you like his good reputation, I would go with watching 1 and 2.
Definitely, yeah.
If you don't want to see him being dark and emo and just not a nice character, then don't watch it, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. And finally, before we close off, in terms of Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, which was amazing stuff, Spider-Man with Emma Stone.
He said Garfield, just walked into my head.
Or Tom Holland, which is looking the strongest, really.
Tom
Holland. Yeah, despite the young age and everything.
I like him, and he's quite dishy for his young age, to be fair. I know I'm like probably double his age. Well, not that old, actually.
No.
But I shouldn't probably be saying he's probably 10 years younger than me. But yeah, no, he seems a lovable character. Mm-hmm. I think as well I like the storyline with how it's included into the full, like, Iron Man story, taking him under his wing, all of that. I feel like you get that aspect a little bit better with him.
With those ones as well, it's kind of like you don't have to go the, oh, here we go, the origin story once again type of thing. Yeah. So, yeah, it works for that in terms of like a young thing, and I believe that he's obviously like finding himself with a very young age of being in high school and stuff, so that's fine. But for me, this is kind of like, is still the strongest. Tobey Maguire is still the strongest, like, because you've grown up with it, and it's still like kind of new at the time, so it works. Just a shame that the third film was just a little bit of a letdown, really.
Also, don't forget the animation Spideyverse.
Spideyverse, yeah. Miles Morales.
So proud of myself.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Thanks. Right. I know you've been in the film, but I'm going to take it that you meant that. I remembered something.
Whatever you want. Yeah. So, thank you very much for listening to this long-winded ramble of this superhero franchise.
Paul's favourite superhero.
Yeah.
He's got a superhero Spider-Man onesie. He loves it. Also, a little boy did actually say, because you've got a red coat and it is blue. Yeah. Without you realising when you bought it that actually it looks a bit like the Spider-Man colours.
Yeah.
A couple of years. Was it last year?
Yeah, it was last year, yeah.
We're out and about, and this little boy had a little Spider-Man mask on, and he's like, oh, Mummy, Spider-Man! And I'm like, looking, thinking, who's... And then he was pointing clearly at Paul.
Yeah, then it twigged, and it's like, oh.
I was waiting for you to be like, you didn't, you just kind of smiled, didn't you?
Yeah. It's quite sweet.
Yeah, it was really cute.
Yeah. I don't think this is the first time we've covered like a superhero film as well, isn't it?
Yeah, and to be fair, this is what you kind of got me into, I think, initially. Because I had a problem with Iron Man. I think the first opening scene of Iron Man scared me to do with terrorists. And I turned it off, and then I didn't bother watching any others.
But, I mean, is that why you didn't were interested in The Dark Knight in Batman? Because that was kind of like dark and scary.
I just liked rom-coms.
Yeah. Well, we've come a long way since then, haven't we?
Yeah. Grown.
So, if you'd like to check out all our other episodes, please go listen to them on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, Good Pods, Podchaser, and wherever else you might get your podcasts from. And, of course, you can go find us and interact with us on social media, Instagram and Twitter, mostly, under the handle SP_filmviewers.
So definitely go and listen to them. We've got loads now. We're over 100 total. There's probably something for everybody to enjoy. At least one, I would hope, would be on there. We're going to be kind of carrying on with the format unless somebody tells us they really hate it. And I'm really enjoying it though, personally, with
mixing
the format.
It's good. It's giving us a bit more freedom in a sense.
Yeah.
Stuff to cover. So, in terms of next week's one, kind of a vague idea of what I want to pick, but I've not completely decided on what that might be just yet. So
hasn't run it past me yet either. So
all I'll say is it's of the Japanese persuasion.
Oh, I'm excited already.
Yeah, and that'll be something that we've neither of us have seen. So
Exciting.
yeah, so I'll just weigh my options up on which one what I want to pick.
Is
But
it anime?
it's not anime.
Ah.
We've only recently done animated feature, so it's live action.
Oh.
Sorry to disappoint you there, but
Yeah.
okay. Okay, well, that being said, thank you very much for listening, and we will speak to you next time.
Speak to you next time.
Bye.
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 Bye.